It is 15:11 on Monday, and I've been on watch for several hours. Drake is down below sleeping, and it's been a pretty quiet watch. The wind is not great. It's been pretty light. We are maintaining over 4 knots, but sometimes just might have to turn the engine on in a little bit. But we'll see. Every time I say that, then it creeps back up to like 5.1. I was thinking of putting the engine on because we were dipping below 4 as an average, and 3.3, 2.7, 4.8, back up and down. But of course, the moment I say that, it is now kind of averaging at 4.5. So we'll see how it goes. I haven't seen anything out there. There's nothing on the radar. There's nothing on the horizon. So yeah, just enjoying some time out here, listening to some audiobooks and catching up on my podcasts, and hoping Drake gets a good sleep.
It's foggy. We're running the engine again. Unfortunately, this trip is turning out to be majority under power, which is not what I thought it was going to be. But what can you do? Winds are either too light or we're dead downwind, and I used to have this gigantic Genoa, and then we tore it, and I ordered a new head sail, and the one that I got was much smaller. And when I asked the sailmaker why it was so small, he's convinced me that it would be better in combination with the main. And I saw the logic in that, but I think when you're going very close to dead downwind, it doesn't work because in strong winds, because under those conditions, if I have the main up, then it overpowers the autopilot. So I can only run with a head sail when we're dead downwind in extremely strong wind. But yeah, you'd think that would get our speed up, but it just didn't do it this time. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm looking forward to getting to Faroe and riding my bicycle. It's 1:30 in the afternoon on May 9th, and we're making our final approach into Vestmanna on the island of Stornoway in the Faroe Islands after a 250 nautical mile voyage from the Western Isles of Scotland. We had spent a whole week at anchor in Loch Erisort in the Western Isles just trying to find a weather window, and we thought we found a good one, an acceptable enough window. But as it turned out, it wasn't the best because we had to run the engine for the majority of the trip. I'd say about 60% or more of the trip has been under power. I really wanted for the whole trip to be under sail, but it didn't work out that way. The reason being it was either not windy enough, and so we had to motor to maintain 5 knots, or it was too windy and we had to go pretty much dead downwind, and in those conditions I have to take the main down and just use the head sail, and our head sail isn't very large. It's not like a big Genoa, and so it wasn't able to catch enough wind to make us go 5 knots. So we definitely could have gone faster under sail if we had headed up and gone off the runline course, but I wanted to stay on the runline course, and so I had to take the main down so that the autopilot could steer, and we had to run the engine. Aside from having to run the engine, it was a pretty bouncy trip. We had pretty rolly seas, we still do right now, but at least the wind is down, and it's warmer, which is wonderful. Let me show you what's going on with our arrival. Right here on our chart plotting app, you can see the voyage that we have done, pushing off from the Western Isles right here, going up to the Faroe Islands right here, where we are at the moment. We're just coming into here, and we will tie up in the town of Vestmanna right here. We might go anchor out in this part, or we'll try to dock over here on a pier covered with big tires, as you'll see. This is waypoint 5 right here. If I go up here and say, when are we going to be at waypoint 5? It says we'll be there in 1 hour and 4 minutes, ETA at 2:40 p.m. Now, if I go over to this other app, a Faroese app called Rack, shows me what's going on with the currents. So at 2:45, the current's going to be 0.2 meters per second against. Awesome. We don't have the current going with us, but at least we don't have it going against us. The current goes up to like 5 knots in here, so we really do have to time it. If the current's very much against us, then we really have to run the engine hard, and we have to stick way to the edges where there's a little bit less current. From here to Vestmanna, I think it's going to take us maybe half an hour. So it's 3:15 about here, 1.5 meters per second going against. So what's that, like 2 knots? I'm not sure, but it'll be against us for sure. Over here it'll be 1.7 meters. So that's the deal with the current. This app is invaluable, the Rack app. All the fishermen use it to figure out what's going on with the currents. Let's go look outside.
Sorry. I'm sorry. It's not intentional.
We're making about 2 to 3 knots over ground, and that's 2 knots of current going against us, I guess, because we would be going 6 knots normally at this RPM. It's quite foggy, but we know the layout, we know the area, and we know exactly where we're going, so I don't think it's foggy enough to be a problem. I wonder if our friends in Vestmanna know that we're arriving right now, if they see us on AIS. It sure is good to be back here. Oh, one more trip to Faroe. I don't know how many times we've been to Faroe. We've been many times. We've developed some of our best friendships here with some Faroese people. And it's kind of sad to think that this might be the last trip to Faroe, or at least aboard Paragon. We're just going to go so far south after this. I don't know if we're going to turn around and come all the way back up here, or spend years in the Med. We're thinking about maybe, Italy, Greece, Turkey, Albania, Tunisia. Or we might just sail down to the Caribbean and work our way back to the USA. See my mom in Boston, see our friends in North Carolina. Continue on to Greenland and the Northwest Passage. Or we might turn around and come back up here because we miss our Faroese friends so much. I don't know. One thing I was thinking about doing here in Faroe is shaving my head. I've lost so much hair up top here, and what are you gonna do? I've lost most of my hair. I used to have so much hair, but those days are long behind me now. I thought it might look better if I shaved it really, or buzz cut it really, really thin. What do you think? I've had a ponytail my whole life. To think of it not being there, I think is weird to think about. But I thought I'd do it here in Vestmanna. because I know my friend Tori wants me to shave my head. We had this one evening at Tori's house, and we had a lot of beers, and she was like, you should shave your head. And then she came out with a shaver and almost talked me into it. She was going to do it right then and there. But my other very good friend Johannes said, you know, you've had a lot of beers and maybe this is not the best time to do this. And he talked some sense into me. But I actually, before we left Scotland, I bought the head shaver, a little plug in the wall outlet powered shaver with different length combs. And I think when I see my friend Tori in Vestmanna, I'll be like, look what I got. Oh boy. So what do I want to do in Vestmanna? What do I want to do in Faroe? I've got a whole bunch of projects lined up actually. I want to finish installing the hydrovane on the stern. You know, I started that project last summer in Denmark, made this big fiberglass mount, and then I stopped. But this summer, or rather in the next few weeks, I want to install the hydrovane. I've got everything I need to do it. I got all the tools, got all the supplies, I got a plan. It would be especially nice to have the hydrovane when we sail from Ireland to Portugal. That'll be the longest leg, like 700 nautical miles or something like that. And for that, I'd love to have a wind vane steer it. We still have a lot more research to do about the Orca situation in Portugal. From what I've researched so far, it seems that most of the Orcas attacking boats are happening right around Gibraltar, so not where we'll be sailing. I know a lot of people are talking about Orca attacks off of Portugal, but I haven't actually seen evidence of any attacks gone bad off of the coast of Portugal. I think Paragon's probably going to be able to withstand an Orca attack on its rudder much better than a fin keel boat with a spade rudder. Paragon's hull is the keel. The whole boat is all keel. And the rudder is just an extension off of that with a skeg. So it's held on there real strong. And it kind of resembles the rest of the hull. It's like one thing. So I think the Orcas might look at that and be like, that's not the kind of rudder that we usually rip off of boats. And there's a lot more research to do. I've heard that people throw sand in the water. I wonder, and that makes the whales go away. I wonder how much sand we could carry. The reason I'm talking about this is because the hydrovane can act as a backup emergency rudder. So if we didn't have the hydrovane in the water and Orcas attacked and damaged our rudder beyond it being able to steer, then theoretically I could put the hydrovane rudder in the water and use that to steer from that point on. And I probably wouldn't have the hydrovane rudder in the water when we're in those waters for this reason, so that the Orcas wouldn't attack it. I don't know. 10 degrees to port. Okay, I gotta go get the Q flag and take down the Scottish courtesy flag, which we didn't take down when we left Scotland. Keep all of our flags in here. And we still need to get a courtesy flag for Morocco. All right, here's the Q flag. We have used this Q flag to come into many different countries, and it's not in tatters after all these years because we never have it up for too long. We got 4 of these big fenders on the stern. I'm actually planning on getting 2 more because they are awesome. We always use 4 of these fenders on one side plus 2 ball fenders. We've got these big orange balls. There's 1, 2, and 3. And that works great for one side of the boat. But then there are times when we want to protect the other side as well. Like if somebody, especially if somebody comes up and rafts up to us. I'm particularly cautious because we have our chain plates external to the hull, or on the outside of the hull, rather than coming out through the deck. And so the upper shroud especially is coming right out of the outside of the hull and going straight up. If we have another boat tied to us, then they can easily hit it. And so I always want a lot of fenders right amidships at the chain plates. These fenders stow nicely here on the aft deck. One issue is that with them secured here, you can't open up the aft hatch, and there might be some school of thought that doesn't like that, because then you can't use the aft hatch as an escape route if the boat is completely submerged. But not really worried about that one. We can get out the companionway if we need to. All right, so those are the fenders. I'll put them on the companionway hatch cover so they are ready to go to put out on either side, depending on what we decide to do. That's a new place for the hydrovane rudder. It's secured pretty well there. And then in this bag, we have all our dock lines. And chafe protection for lines. Put these around the lines for chafe when we need to. They are heavy. I can only carry 3 lines at a time. Oh, this weigh like 30 pounds. We smell burning rubber. Yeah, it smells fine in here. That's not us. What? No, I said that's not us. The engine room smells fine. Everything down here smells fine.
I think we should take it a little easy on the engine, eh?
Yeah, but I went into the engine room. There was no residual smell from anything. It
smells out here. Maybe we should take it easy and not like flip it up into high. This is not the time to lose the engine.
If there was anything going on in the engine room, it still would be smelling back there. I don't think that. Do you still smell it?
A little.
Yeah, that's not us. That's from outside.
No.
It's got to be.
That's us.
I don't smell anything.
You don't smell anything though. When we got within sail range, I texted our friend Turi to ask about space for our boat in the harbor. She was able to let us know what was open and that we could dock the boat on the starboard side.
All right, I gotta put the fenders out. This is our massive fender board. We have to use a fender board when we're docking here because the tires are so big that the fenders will go inside of the tire, and then as the tide goes up and down it'll get stuck inside the tire. No good. So the fender board prevents that from happening, hopefully. There is quite a bit of tide in Vestmanna, so we'll be going up and down on these big tires. Maybe preferable to just go out and anchor, but initially we will dock because we want to say hi to everybody, have them come aboard the boat. Tori said that the chicken truck is in town today and was gonna leave before we get in, so she bought some chicken for us, like chicken meal to go kind of thing. This fender we got in the Western Isles from a lumber making shop. I went in there and asked them if they had a board that we could buy. They said, yeah, just go out back, see what you find. And I found this one. I thought it was perfect, and asked them how much, and they said, just take it. I was like, wow, are you sure? I can't pay you. And they're like, nah, it's all right, you can just have it. And then the guy was like, you need holes in it for lines, don't you? And I said, well, yes, I do. And they were like, where do you want them? They drilled the lines, and then I was ready to carry it home. They're like, where's your boat? And they brought it out to my boat in the truck, and they did not let me pay them a cent. So we returned the next day with a bottle of wine and some chocolate, but that was awfully nice of them. It's a fantastic fender board. All right. Talking lift coming down.
Watch your noggin.
Watch your head. I got it. What? You got something you want to say to me?
Did you hear me?
No, what'd you say? What'd you say?
I was like, you don't need me. And then you were like,
I need you.
oh my God, we're gonna have spare roasted chicken.
Woo! Thank you, Tori.
Share that for every time we arrive.
This is the last time.
Shut up.
Hmm.
You're a punk.
It is so nice to come back to what is really one of our most favorite places in the world, the town of Vestmanna on the island of Stornoway.
Look at all the fish jumping.
And over here we have a salmon farm. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but there are a lot of fish jumping out of the water.
They have nets over the top so the birds can't just use the farm as a buffet.
Yeah.
So they're just staring like, let's begin.
All the lines are set, fenders are set, fender board's set. And this is the town of Vestmanna. Everybody lives on an incline. There's no house in Vestmanna that does not have an amazing view of the harbor. Those are boat houses. People keep their boats in them and then roll them out into the water, though some of them have been converted into luxurious homes. Or rather, they keep a boat in the bottom part and then everything above is super luxurious and nice. Over there we have a fish factory. Just about every village in Faroe has its own fish factory. The big fishing boats come in and drop their catch off. I'm talking about the biggest of the fishing ships in the world. We're gonna go dock on the pier wall somewhere in there. And it looks like with this wind direction, we'll be blown onto the pier, which may make things easier. So that's an old folks home. All the people in Vestmanna, when they grow old, they live there. It's a wonderful thing. Stay in their town. How's this line look?
That's okay. You might have to straighten out.
Yeah. Tell me when to start straightening out.
You're neutral?
We are in neutral. We have been in neutral for a while. Woo! How we looking?
Slow her down. Slow her down.
Hi! Oh, sorry.
Tie that at the first thing that you can. Tie
Yeah,
it tight.
just
wrap
put it on
around,
that.
Tie it tight. And just wrap it. Just wrap it all the way around.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're in.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I stopped you.
Woo! All right. I guess. So I guess we'll park it here. Yeah, we'll put the.
For a few days.
Yeah, we'll put the stern right here, and
And then I think they're waiting to
we have arrived. We have successfully docked the boat, called customs, and they're on the way down from Torshavn. It will take them about half an hour to get here. And in the meantime, Mo and Turi are jumping in the car and going to the chicken truck to get chicken with all of the trimmings. Turi asked customs if it would be okay for one of us to go get the chicken. They said, yeah, it'll be fine. Just get back to the boat before we arrive. And so this is the place, my favorite place in the world, the town of Vestmanna. It is just my paradise. That red boat there belongs to Sweeman. He runs a commercial scuba diving company, and he uses that boat to take his divers out and do other kinds of work. I can guarantee you that since we're the only boat in here and we just came in, dozens of people are looking out their windows at the new boat. And no doubt most of them recognize this one because we've been here so many times before. That building right there is the school, and there's Sweeman's workshop building. And then right here, these are all temporary docks that they're gonna put in the water with a crane. In the next few days, they're all gonna be put out right here for the boat festival, which is gonna happen pretty soon. Hundreds of boats will come into this little harbor and raft up to each other and tie up to those docks that they're gonna put in there. You can see down there, they're just about to construct this massive tent for the bands to play in. And finally, over here is the harbor master's office. He's got quite the nice setup up there on the top floor with a beautiful view of the harbor. We've got this nice breakwater on the left and ahead to calm down any wave action, so it's not so bad in here. Although it can get pretty rolly in here in a real blow. But okay, I'm gonna go get our ship's documentation and passports and make sure the boat's kind of stowed and ready for customs. Walking down the street.